Hello, it is Throwback Thursday, September 12th, 2019. Steve Sipress here, wearing one of my Mets hats and wearing a Mets pair of shorts. And at the same time, my ugly, silly red Hawaiian shirt of the day is my Arizona Diamondbacks red shirt. So if you're not following along with Mets baseball, and why would you? You might be wondering what's the deal with the Arizona Diamondbacks shirt. Well, that's because I'm so thankful for the Arizona Diamondbacks that just now the game ended, the fourth straight game that the Arizona Diamondbacks very nicely, generously lost to my beloved New York Mets for a 4-game sweep, where the Mets gave up a total of only 4 runs in the 4 games. And they outscored Arizona yesterday and today in the last 2 games of the series, 20-1. How cool is that? So it was 11-1 today. Just in the game that just ended, the Mets hit 6 homers. And yesterday, and here is the topic for today's Throwback Thursday. Jeremy Danley is here. Great seeing you. Is on 9/11. Believe it or not. Game played in New York City, the site of the major of the 4 tragic attacks on 9/11. The Mets beat Arizona with 9 runs on 11 hits. How cool is that? So if you looked at the scoreboard at the end of the game on 9/11 in New York City, it said 9/11. And the Mets had their 3rd win over the Diamondbacks today. They made it a 4-game sweep. They are only 2 games out of making the playoffs with 16 games to play. So let's see what happens. And once you make the playoffs, anything can happen. Mets got some top players, some great pitchers. We'll see what happens. And so 9/11 is the Throwback Thursday today. And yesterday, the Mets star player of the year, MVP candidate over the whole league. He won the home run derby in the All-Star game. He's already set the Mets single-season home run record. He has set the Major League Baseball rookie home run record, or he's about to. And I think he's 1 or 2 homers short of doing it, 16 to play. And he is looking to lead the major leagues in home runs for the year. It's Pete Alonso. Well, what Pete Alonso did yesterday, now he's not from New York, but in his first season in New York, he's really become a New Yorker. So he donated 10% of his $1 million prize money from the Home Run Derby to 2 New York area charities supporting the veterans and the families of the victims of 9/11. Gave $100,000 to them. And then yesterday, he had custom cleats made up for every single Mets player, all painted to honor the New York Fire Department, police, the first responders, and had the Twin Towers on them, and, we'll never forget, and all that kind of stuff, commemorating 9/11. And he said, I'm not concerned. They're, of course, not. I guess here's a bonus lesson. Alonso came right out and said when somebody, goofball, of course, had to bring it up and go, those are against the rules of Major League Baseball. They're not in the uniform requirement rules. There might be a fine for that. Pete Alonso said, yeah, I'll pay the fine for every single one of the players if Major League Baseball wants to fine me, which, number one, how retarded would that be? But I wouldn't put it past any sports league. The NFL is certainly stupid enough to do that. They've done that before. I remember they disallowed the Dallas Cowboys from putting like a star on their helmet to honor the 5 cops that were killed in a terror attack in Dallas. But I think Major League Baseball is smarter than that. But if they did, there's lesson number 1. That you're not going to have spectacular, fantastic results. And hopefully, if you're watching my videos, you're looking to have fantastic results. Not just get by, not just survive, not just increase 5% this year. You're looking to triple, 5, 10 times your income, which my clients routinely do, and you'll get that from implementing what I teach. And one of the things I teach is to be a out-of-the-box, renegade, contrarian thinker, and where appropriate, break the rules, like Pete Alonso did yesterday. Very appropriate. to step right up with custom-made cleats for every single player on the team to commemorate 9/11 and the tragedy that occurred in New York City for a game played in New York City on 9/11. So I don't know if they'll now take all those cleats and put them up for auction, or again give the proceeds to the victims' families, or whatever kind of fund there is for that. I'm sure that's something, they'll do something like that. But I guess maybe first Pete Alonso's waiting to see if the Major League Baseball is going to be stupid enough to find him. So that's number one. You know, I hear it all the time when I give advice to people, and they go, "Well, you don't understand, Steve. I'm in a, you know, my boss won't let me do that if they work for a company, or if they're a franchise or a multi-level. You know, my upline. I don't know what else they'll think if I do that. Like, well, don't they make more money when you make more money? So I'll tell you what they'll think of that. They could say anything they want and think anything they want. But what I always did, the one corporate job I had, where I did all kinds of stuff that, of course, was not approved, pre-approved, not allowed, and against the rules and whatever, but I was setting every single record there was and bringing in tons of money. And I would get called into the manager's office all the time. And I remember one time I just looked at him. I said, "You know what?" He said, "Yeah, what's with this where you have your own website and you have your own newsletter and you have your own," and he didn't even know half of all the materials I had. I had my own audio series. If it was nowadays, this is 12 years ago before social media. Now I'd have free video series thanks to video and what I'm doing right now. Everyone has a video camera on them practically at all times. But I have my audio series, and I have my book and my newsletter and my website, all my own stuff, where I was working for a big company. This was all not allowed. It's supposed to be approved by the company. You're only supposed to hand out the company's business cards. Screw that. I have my own business cards that actually work. I have my own brochures. I have my own pricing sheets. I had my own everything that worked better, looked better, was more persuasive than anything the company, of course, could possibly do. And the manager would call me on it. And I remember that one time I just looked at him and said, "You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll take it all down. If you want, just let me know. I'll take it all down. No more website, no more newsletter, no more business cards, no more testimonial sheets, pricing sheets, no more everything I'm doing to take this from when I came to the office I was in. It was last in the company. And that very first year I was with them, we were number one in the company. And my manager, who was close to quitting, was the number one district manager in the company. And just about everybody in my row, everybody except one person sitting in the cubicles in my row, got the presidential sales award, whatever they called it, and went on a trip on the company for being in the top 20 in the company in sales or whatever. That was due to me going outside the box and doing things that technically you're not supposed to do, but getting fantastic results. And so I like to be results-oriented. If you're results-oriented, then you won't care what things look like, what people think of them, what the rules say. You know, now, of course, you got to be smart about this and strategic. You know, if it was a fireable offense, then you're on thin ice. So, or you could lose your license. But usually you can't lose the license. I have consulted and helped plenty of people in highly regulated industries, accountants, doctors, lawyers, and they can get called up in front of the board and have their ads canceled and not allowed. They can get a warning, a slap on the wrist. They can have one thing go in their record, but one complaint, one thing being wrong, not going to cost them their license. So they can make a ton of money. Like Pete Alonso said, I'm willing to pay for whatever fine it is because that's what I feel in my heart. I'm going to honor the families of the victims of 9/11. Now, for business owners, it's not about tugging at the heartstrings, although that is a way to make money, and that's my other point of the video is, but you want to go outside the rules. So there's a bonus lesson. The main lesson is what I put in the title and the subtitle, is what Pete Alonso did. He couldn't just go out that morning and buy all these custom-made shoes. This had to be in the works for a while. They said he first planned it like a month ago or something. He went around the clubhouse and he asked everybody for their shoe size, and they were like, "What are you talking about?" And so now he got the custom cleats made. He planned ahead. What are you doing in your business to plan ahead, to tie yourself to something newsworthy, something that's coming up a month from now or 2 months from now or 3 months from now, that you're going to put together a big promotion and get lots of attention, not to mention get lots of goodwill lots of good feelings by tying yourself to something that people feel good about. And then, of course, unless you're really doing it wrong, that will help bring you a lot of money, because bringing yourself attention to your business in a good way and building lots of goodwill ought to translate into making more sales and more profits. Rich is here. Great seeing you. What do you think, Rich? Mets are on fire, huh? Let's see what happens. And Jeremy Danley says, rules are like hearts. They're meant to be broken. I like that one. I have a client of mine was in the emergency room a few times last week with a heart condition, and just went to see the cardiologist this week, and so that's hitting a little close to home. Not so sure hearts are technically made to be broken, but professional comedian, he's going to come up with a quip like that, and it's all good. And Kim is here, and Rich says, love our Mets. Yes, we do. I don't know if you're here in the beginning, Rich, you might not have seen my official New York Mets shorts that I'm wearing. And of course, thanks to the Diamondbacks handing the Mets a 4-game sweep, I'm wearing my Diamondbacks shirt to rub it in a little bit. So anyway, that'll do it for Throwback Thursday. We remember 9/11 and the companies that tie themselves to 9/11. Now, you see this all the time. I know what you might be thinking right now, like, oh, but Steve, I don't sell cleats. I don't sell T-shirts or hats or things I can easily print stuff up and sell it because it's got to do with a holiday. Sure, those are easy ways to make money with holidays and newsworthy events. But any business at all can just say, let's just say you're a professional comedian. Since Jeremy's on here, professional comedian, and you could say in honor, maybe you could do it next year, you could say in honor of 9/11, for only $9.11, you can have my latest CD recording of my show, because normally you sell it for $15. I'll let you have it for only $9.11. T-shirts that I normally sell for $15-$20, you can have them for $9.11. So you can do a 9/11 promotion in any business at all. Jeremy Danley says goodwill plus offers times frequency equals money. I'll have to check out on my calculator, do the math later, but anything that ends in money, I like it. So goodwill plus offers times frequency. In other words, if people like you, know you, and trust you, and you're frequently and constantly making offers, then eventually that's going to result in some of them taking you up on those offers, and you make money. Speaking of which, I'll give you an offer which without a transaction of money. I'll offer some free help, as I always do. You can go to helpfromsteve.com. I just did a bunch of calls this